Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today is session 2 of week 1 of the program that we are running in partnership with the AHCA Women's Hockey Committee. Hopefully, all of you had a chance to watch Monday's session with Lee J or had a chance to review the recording of the webinar. So this week's theme is on forward and defense skills. Monday, we heard from Lee J. Today, we're hearing from our NHLCA mentor coach, who is Todd Woodcroft, on the same topic. The format will be that Todd spends about 35 minutes or so going through his presentation, and then we will open it up to a Q&A from all of you. To get a great dialogue going, please submit your question with your name so that we can announce who the question is coming from, just for everybody else that's participating today. Just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded. Mayor will send out a copy to everyone afterwards, and then you'll also automatically receive a copy of the recording 24 hours following the webinar. All right, I don't think at this point Todd needs any more of an introduction. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, coaches. Thank you very much for being here on a Friday morning where we're going to have an opportunity to share some ideas. Also, just to build on the stuff that Lee J had talked about on Monday. Most people don't know what the NHLCA, the webinars on Friday morning, we have costume days. So today I'm going to be Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. So please excuse my hair on this morning here. This is really a forum for us to share some ideas, to go back and forth between coaches. Lee J did an amazing job on Monday. I took so many notes, and I'm going to be building a little bit off what Lee J did from her presentation. But the first thing I want to say is thank you to the coaches for being here, but really for being coaches, because somewhere along the way, somebody else was able to influence you and give you a little bit of a jolt into being the profession that you're in right now. So thanks for being here. Hopefully we have a little bit of fun today, as you know. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how, at least in my experience over 20 years, the game has really changed, where it's now a partnership between the players and the coaches, where the players are starving for skill. They're starving to improve their games. Even at the highest of levels, the best players are players who are always wanting to work on the finest details in their game and on their habits, and of course on their skills. So my suggestion to you as coaches is, when you start the season, is to get with your leadership group, to get with your players, all your coaches, and figure out the skills, the habits, the details that you want to get better at, and what you need to do to succeed inside your season. And then you want to revisit them. So you're actually asking your players, what are the habits? What are the skills? What are the details we need to do better? And you can look at that by saying, what type of team are you? Are you a team that wants to be a puck possession team in the O-zone? Well, what skills and habits and details do you need inside the O-zone to maintain that DNA of your team? Or if you're a rush entry team, what kind of skills and habits and details you need to be an excellent rush team? So I heard Mike Sullivan speak, it was at the last NHLCA coaching conference in Vancouver last year, and he said something that I thought was just brilliant. He said that skill is really technique under pressure. And that's what we're going to be working on today. Is we're going to be working on the habits in the details that will become skills. And again, they have to be visited and revisited often. I think Lee J did a great job talking about how often they work on that at Harvard, where Lee J is coaching. So skills can be an individual thing. Skill development can be an individual thing, but really they need a purpose. And that purpose is going to help define your team identity. So Lee J began her presentation last week and talking about the skills D needed to have for a breakout. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to work off of those details inside breakouts from D, also from forwards. We're going to look at some offensive habits and details. But then when we look at them, I'm encouraging you as coaches to look at them from a forward perspective and also from a defense perspective. So even if we're looking at D clips, look at them from a forward. We're looking at forwards, look at from a D perspective. And you want to see things like the relationships between the D and the goalie, the D and the wingers, the D and the center. And even inside the actual habits, Jamie Compon spoke in his conference a couple weeks ago about the different tiers inside of a breakout, the different areas inside the D zone where you're going to break that puck out. So as coaches, I know what makes us always mad when we ask a player to execute a skill and then they don't execute it. It might be getting pucks off the wall in the D zone, but ask yourself as a coach there, how do you address it? Like, is it just an idle skill? Is it something you're expecting your players to just know how to do? But if you're not working on those habits and details and the skills of getting pucks out of the D zone, then really it's not on the player, it's on the players, it's on you. It's your onus to teach them how, to teach them why. A great example for me would be hoisting the puck from the D zone. Anytime you're under pressure, it could be the last couple minutes of a game, you need to get pucks sometimes up in the air and just out of trouble. But if you haven't addressed that with your team, what you don't want is your players to go and Google the answer. You want to give them the how. You want to give them also the why. So it could be offensively too. It could be, D shooting, which we're going to look at today, because nowadays almost every team you're going to play is going to have teams fronting pucks, but you need to tell your players how to get those puck past the layers, the why, and give them the skills on what they need to do it. So you have to show them the why, you have to show them the how. And then when we build today off these breakouts from a D perspective and a forward perspective, just looking how you can add different layers. So for a D, it might be adding the line of protection, or Jamie Compon's checklist of understanding who you're on the ice against and recognizing the forecheck pressure and turning your feet and getting back to that puck as quick as you can for a D, and getting that puck on your forehand and your toes up the ice and killing that spin and looking to make the next play inside the dots. All these conversations you can be having with your players. It's a chance for you to engage with your players. It's a chance for you to create a dialogue that will build some confidence for your players to have. So when that pressure situation happens, she's going to be able to execute on it. So I think if you're building and reinforcing these habits all the time, you're going to add these layers. You're going to make things easy to start. Even in the NHL, teams will do things with no pressure. Then they're going to have light pressure, some medium pressure, some heavy pressure. Understanding at the end of the day that learning really doesn't happen by instruction for players. It happens by doing. And you have to do it all the time, all the time, all the time. As coaches, we don't want to give the players a solution. We want to let them sort the problem out. So again, I encourage you as coaches, as we go through this, look at this from the perspective of the forwards and the D. Using what Lee J talked about this week would be, for me, a lot of the words she used I thought were really important. Like the first one that stuck out to me was what's next. And the what's next aspect of what's the next play that your player can look forward to when that puck is controlled on her stick. But also what's next is a trend, what's happening in the league, and realizing what teams that you enjoy watching play, maybe in the NHL or other teams that you're playing against, what are the trends that they're doing that's next for you to learn as well? What are the next habits that your players can learn when they've mastered the ones that you want them to learn? So the other word I took from Lee J this week was subtle. How many of the clips that she showed that had the word subtle in there? So there was a clip with Della Revere in there that was a very good example of doing something subtle. And then there was a Bram clip in there that was a real good one. There was a Paige Lewis clip that talked about inside position, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to build off a lot of those words. The first thing we're going to talk about here today, and this would just be something that's a little bit different here. And this would just be for looking at the D side of a forecheck here. So this is going to be a D doing what I would call a pre-pinch or early position. So this is going to be Los Angeles coming in on a puck right now. And their D is going to be able to pre-pinch on this and keep this puck alive. So just this idea right here of that skill right there for the LA defenseman to be on top of the Buffalo winger right there with his stick on the inside, denying the ability for the Buffalo player to make an inside play. His foot is sealing the wall, so nothing can get by him. The puck is not going to be able to get chipped past him. He's able to keep that puck alive. LA is going to get some ozone time out of that. So we're going to see the same thing right here. So right now we're going to see this puck is going to come back across right now. We're going to see, I think that Steckline is able just to get in on top of that and have an ability to seal that wall, keep a stick on the inside to deny any kind of pass going through, and just keep this puck alive for the U.S. team to get through on this one. And now we're going to have a chance so that this is going to be an offensive zone time for the U.S. team. Okay, so one more of these we're going to see right now. Calgary's going to pre-pinch on this, keep this puck alive. Now this is going to end up into being some offensive zone time for the Flames. And we'll talk about this clip coming up in a little while, but that's going to be a strong side one-timer when we get to shooting. So now we're going to look at the same thing from a forward's perspective. So this would be a forward in on a forecheck. And anybody who was at the conference last year in Naples would know that we talked a little bit about this. A word for this could be a soft lock. And when you're soft locking someone, you're going to see this forward right here is just trying to make himself as big as he can be. His toes are going to be up the ice. So Lee J's words on Monday about toe deception right here. This forward is not trying to have a big body check. His job is to make sure this puck does not get through him. And he's trying to force the Colorado players here to unload this puck as quick as possible. And that's exactly what happens. And this ends up being a real good scoring opportunity for Anaheim. Okay. Same thing we're going to see right now from a forward's perspective. At the top of your screen right here, you're going to see the Vegas forward's going to come in. And instead of trying to have a big body check, he understands that all he really wants is to get this puck back. And to do that, it's a little stick move right there, of course. It's a very subtle thing, but his toe caps are facing up ice, and Vegas ends up with possession and a counter. Okay, so now we're going to look at a soft lock. Again, we're going to see two perfect ones right here. So Turnbull's going to be on top of this right here. There's a great check happening right now. Clark's at the top of your screen right here. So here we have one soft lock that's going to happen. She's a couple steps behind, but her toes are facing the same way. Clark right now, if you watch, great stick position, and now there's really no way this puck can get through. The only real option for the USA players is to just keep this puck going north. The puck tries to get forced through. Canada's in a counter situation, and it's gone the other way. Okay, so the word I wanted to use on this one would be habits in the details. So all of these skills are going to happen from the habits inside the details that you're going to be reinforcing as a coach daily. Sometimes that's the assistant coach, sometimes it's the head coach, if he or she is weaving that into their narrative. But these are the habits and details we're going to talk about for defensemen. And we're going to start with the breakout. Lee J started there with a lot of those skills, so I wanted to continue off that. Just really showing that everybody is involved in a breakout situation right here. So this puck is going to come back. And I just love this little detail. The D aren't even going to touch this puck. This goalie's going to set it up, but the D are in perfect position. Great shoulder check. Their backsides are going to be towards the wall right now. Their sticks are presented. You got a lefty, you got a righty on this side, lefty right here. This puck's going to get rimmed by, and then just this little subtle touch right here, Lauren Gable, just to pop this puck into the middle to a slashing forward right here. We looked at this a couple weeks ago in a different webinar, but this is such a great little skill. Just a redirect. And now Canada's going to get into an entry situation. So it does take 5. It takes 5 in all the little details right now. So you're going to see the U.S. teams going back hard for this puck. No strides are taken easy here. So Keller's going back real hard for this puck. Little shoulder check. Steckline right now is understanding the forecheck pressure. She's reading what's happening. It's going to be a little bump back to her right now. And now Steckline doesn't stop. She's going to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. That puck is on her forehand. She's going to be inside these dots. She's looking to move this puck, already moving before we touch a puck. We got a stretch wing up top right now, and we're going to understand that our center is going to be underneath right here. And this scoring chance happens all because of that. All 5 of those players were involved in that. So what are the actual habits and details? So just this clip right now, you're going to see this is Jan Klingberg right now. He is surveying what is in front of him. So he has all this information, being able to see what's coming his way. And by seeing what's coming his way, he understands the forecheck pressure for sure, but he knows which players are coming at him, the capabilities of the players that you're going to be playing against. Unfortunately for John right now, he has Nathan McKinnon coming at him, who's one of the most powerful, strongest skaters in the NHL. But he understands that. There's your other shoulder check right now, and he's going to be reading the spin of this puck along the wall and understanding what he can do when he gets this puck. And when he does get this puck, he knows right now if he tries to go, corner to corner right now, McKinnon probably will be able to get that just because of his speed. But he's going to do something called controlling the puck area. Controlling the puck area. He's inviting McKinnon into his space, and he's going to create the battle right now. So he has two of the Colorado players on him, and right now this puck is in his feet, and he's able just to kick that puck over to Ben, and now Dallas is going to be in an exit situation, all because of the details that happened before he even got to the puck. He was able to control that puck area. It's going to be the exact same thing right now. This is a fantastic thing. You're going to see Fast is going to go back to get this puck. She's not stopping skating. She's getting there as quick as she can. She understands that she has 3 USA forwards coming near her. She's going to understand the forecheck situation before the game even started. And this skill right here, right there, that little touch that she has right there is an amazing skill. She's just controlled that puck area on the backside of her stick, able to get this puck to Larocque. Now Canada's in an exit situation. That's a real hard skill to have, and that's a skill that you need to be working on all the time. You don't have an opportunity to turn your toes up the ice every single time that you're going to get a puck. You will have different types of pressure, medium, heavy pressure, sometimes no pressure, sometimes light pressure, so you have to read that. That was a great little skill play. So here we're going to see Jack Johnson's going to be number 3 for Pittsburgh. So right now, he's just done a shoulder check, and he sees that this wall is sealed, so he's not able to go this way. And what he is going to do is he's going to have a little bit of a shoulder deception. He's going to suck number 18 of Columbus into his space right there. He's controlled that puck area. He's able to get that puck on his forehand as quick as possible. This is a second quick situation. And now Pittsburgh's going to exit. They're going to use the weak side D. All because Johnson was able to control that puck area, a little bit of a head fake and shoulder deception, and that puck is on his forehand. Okay, this is a perfect example right here. You're going to see Ben going back for that puck. He knows who's going against him in Nylander. He understands that Nylander is a quick, skilled player, so he's probably not looking for a lot of physical contact on this one right now. Shoulder check right now. And just that little deception right there. He has Nylander thinking he's going to reverse this puck. He just controls that puck area. His eyes are up. The puck is on his forehand as quick as possible. He advances it. And like all good teams, the center is underneath. And there's an exit situation for the Canucks, the weak side D joining. He had built himself a line of protection inside that when he went to get that puck. And that's an important concept for your players. So this would be an example where there's not a real lot of pressure coming. This is a line change for St. Louis. So you're going to see the Chicago D6 is back. Look how many times he's shoulder checking. He understands that St. Louis is on a line change situation. He wants to get his toes around the ice as quick as possible, just like Lee J talked about with that toe deception. His toes are up ice, and he's going to advance his puck as quick as he can. And after he advances it, he's going to end up joining that rush. I know you couldn't really see it very well, but that was exactly what happened. Okay, so here we're going to see Anaheim. Defense is back to get this. Couple shoulder checks, and now that puck is on his forehand as quick as possible. His eyes are up. He's surveying where he's going to be when the pressure is coming in here from Tampa. Inside the dots, waiting to see what he wants for a partner. He's able just to put this puck off the boards, get into his partner's hands, and now they're in a breakout situation. So he surveyed. He got that puck on his forehand as quick as he can. He was inside the dots. He looked to make the next play. Great breakout here for Anaheim. As a forward, we're going to talk about, he's off the wall, and now Anaheim's in an entry situation. Okay. Now we're going to have a little bit heavier pressure right now when this puck goes back here. So this is Fortino's going to go back to get this puck, and she sees that this pressure is coming along the wall right now. So she's a left-handed player. Probably not comfortable just dishing this puck off her backhand, especially seeing that we have 4 right here who is not in a position to accept this. So she just gives herself a little self-chip. Puck on her forehand, fantastic skill. Inside the dots, Canada's in an exit situation. They're going to be in an entry too, all because Fortino had that foresight to keep that puck on her forehand, put it off the wall, and now Canada's in an entry situation. All right, so now we're going to have a little bit heavier pressure here. All right, so Arizona is going to be in hard on this forecheck. This puck's going to come from D to D. And now you're going to see this D right now available to take that puck on his forehand, still inside these dots. And he's going to get his toes up the ice as quick as he can. and he's going to take all this ice that's in front of him. He knows that there's 3 of his partners right here. So he wants to skate, buy his team some time, and look to find the next play. There was a line change that he was aware of, and now he's going to look to advance his puck right here to 61. Anaheim's going to get into an entry situation. All because he took the ice in front of him, puck was on his forehand, toes were up the ice. All right, let's get into some offensive stuff here for the D. We did talk previously about skills for D inside the neutral zone, so we're not looking to be redundant today. We want to get into some offensive skills for D that we haven't talked about. At least I haven't had the opportunity to talk about, so I want to show that. So we're going to see right now when this puck comes, this is going to come to fast right here, and her feet are already moving before she touches this puck. So this puck is going to get to her. It's around her hips. She's looking to do what best D are always thinking about, and that's just getting puck past the layers. You want to get this puck into a scoring area. Really, D, your job is not to score goals. It's to get pucks into an area where people can score goals. So she does a great job. This ends up getting fronted by the U.S. there, but just that little skill she has right now of catching this puck and releasing it, not overhandling the puck, as Lee J had talked about on Monday. I call that a catch and release. Fantastic skill. So we're going to see Dumba right now is going to get this. It'll be 24 in white. His hips are already moving before he gets his puck, and he's going to set it up and just get this puck past layers into a scoring area. But if you see when he receives this puck, his feet are already moving. He snaps his hips, his head's up. It's not a huge slapper. That's kind of like a 3/4 slapper, and he just gets that past the layers. Same thing we're going to see right here. So this puck's going to come back here all the way in there. Bellamy with a shot, getting it past the layers there. Hips around the puck, not a huge heater we don't need. We just need to get it into a scoring area. Okay, this puck's going to come back here. A little bit of a great little stick check. Mickelson just gets this puck on net. That exact same idea. We're not trying to score. The pressure right now from the USA forwards is too tight that you can look to get a great shot on net here. We just want to get it past three forwards. Maybe it creates a rebound and a first touch situation with your Canadian forward partners, but she just wants to get that thing on net. It ends up creating a face-off. Excellent for everybody there. Okay, talking about underhandling the pucks there. What a great move. Pankowski right here. Fantastic move off the half wall. We're going to get this. Matheson just with a shot ends up being a goal. So all this happens because Matheson understands you don't need to step into this puck and bring it closer to the goalie. You just want to get this thing past layers and not overhandle the puck. So she underhandles this puck, gets it past the layers. Fantastic goal. So some strong side one-timers we're going to talk about. This would be something that would be a habit and a detail that we work on every single day. When I was in Winnipeg with our D, we're looking to not overhandle this puck because we know that the forwards from the other team are going to be fronting some pucks. So when this comes to the D here, it's just a quick puck to the net. It ends up being a goal. It doesn't always happen, but that could create a rebound or could create a first touch situation for your team. Understanding that every time you shoot a puck, you're forcing the other team to turn their feet and sort of problems. Nobody wants to sort problems out. So the more pucks that you can get to the net, better. And of course, we don't want the other team to be able to front those pucks, and the puck is going to be gone the other way towards your own goal. Same thing right here. You're going to see the Chicago D right now get his hips around this puck, head up, quick shot, net presence, ends up being a goal. All because he had the presence of mind to switch his hips around that puck. His eyes are up. It's not looking for a big heater, just to get that puck past layers. Okay, so now we're going to look at some forward details, and we're going to start even from the D zone with some breakout situations. Again, habits inside the details. And we're going to see this first thing here is actually nothing to do with the presentation today. It was just really about some players in the world, you can't teach them things, they actually teach you things. So this just happened early in the season. Johnny Gaudreau was going 1 against basically 3 right now, and there's going to be more Winnipeg forwards coming back. It's a line change situation for Calgary, but I just watched this, and sometimes when you're watching games, you see little things that forwards and D will actually teach you. I like to keep little projects of that, and maybe I can come up with some drills from it after. But I just saw Johnny do this. He had nothing. He threw a little knuckler on purpose to get to that goalie, knowing that the goalie wasn't expecting it and that he would end up with that puck first. Now it's a 1 versus 4 situation. Calgary's going to end up coming into this picture, and they're going to have a little bit of ozone time. So just some things you can't teach. So learning from the players that you watch, even if you're watching teams that you enjoy watching or players you enjoy watching, seeing what they do, understanding, hey, maybe I can use that skill for the players that are on my own team, and figuring out ways to do it. Okay, so from the forward perspective here, we're going to talk about the breakouts. So here we're going to see this puck's going to come back into the Canadian end, and the Canadians are just going to do what all good teams do. They're moving before they touch the puck. This D's going to grab that. It's going to be on her forehand as quick as possible. This forward right here is already moving before a puck can get to her, driving that D back, allowing that center right here to be underneath. But everybody's moving before they touch that puck. It's going to come in, and they're going to get an entry. So here we're going to see number 18 in Pittsburgh getting off the wall as soon as he gets this puck. So I know Jamie talked about those layers, the layer 1, or tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And as soon as you get that puck and you're ready to go, your toes are up the ice, and now you want to get off the wall. And you want to get off the wall because that happens right there. These 2D are brought together. And by bringing those 2D together, that opens up this lane, that opens up this lane right here, and even opens up a lane for a D to be following in case you're going to join that rush. Not a bad result there for Pittsburgh. Okay, so you're going to see Mark Stone right here. He's going to be number 61. His feet don't stop moving, don't stop moving. Now he's going to get off the wall as quick as he can. There is a line change happening for Montreal. He's aware of it, but now he's able to kick that puck outside. If he would have just kept coming up this lane right here, he would have been squeezed off, and this puck would be going the other way. He's able to kick that puck to the outside. A little bit of a drop pass here to the trail forward, broken stick, but it's a pretty good scoring opportunity. Moving before we touch the puck again, still the idea of allowing those centers to be underneath. So Fast does a great job right now. She's not going to slow down. She's not going to slow down. She's going to keep going. She wants to get that puck to her forehand as quick as she can. Advances that puck right now. I think that's Eldridge right here. Eldridge is going to keep moving. Small little indirect, great idea. But here we have the idea of Turnbull being under the puck. The center's under the puck. Ends up back into Canada's hand. Little scoring opportunity just because everybody was moving before they touched the puck and the center was underneath. So at the beginning, we talked about if you have expectations of your players to do things at critical times, your best players want to be on the ice in 6-on-5 situations, offensively, defensively. You need to trust them to be on the ice. When you say that you have to get this puck out in a defensive situation, if you're not working on it, really, it's your responsibility as a coach. You can't expect your players to do something if you haven't told her what to do or showed her what to do, and for sure showed her the why of what you're doing. So this is just Daou right now. You're going to see he's going to get this puck. It's going to be a little bit of a pressure situation. Doesn't like what she sees. And just that little hoist right there. That's going to allow Canada to get in on the forecheck right now. My favorite player, Poulin, is going to get in on that puck. All because Daou had the presence of mind and the skill that she had worked on before, hundreds or 500s of times, to be able to have confidence to make those plays and hoist that puck out of the D zone. All right, so now we're going to look at some offensive habits and details for forwards, and this is just about keeping your puck on your forehand so that you're a multiple threat. You're not just a threat to pass. You're not just a threat to shoot. So you're going to see one of the best out of it here, Bjorkstrand. Like all good players, we want our players inside the dots whenever you can in an attack situation. His eyes right now are scanning to see all of his options where he can be. He's going to keep this puck on his forehand so he can be a shooter. He can drop a pass right here. He can pass across to his partners over here. He's opening his stick, trying to make the Detroit defenseman bite on it. He ends up shooting this puck. It doesn't end up going in, but they got two great scoring chances, all because that puck was on his forehand. So Pacioretty's going to lose this puck a little bit right there, but his idea of he's just going to change the angle of this puck a bit. He's going to try to get inside the dots as quick as he can, and the puck on his forehand And just that shot right there, we'll show a little replay of it. Does a great job. He loses it. His eyes are up. He's looking to see what he can do with it. It's on his forehand. There we go. One more angle because it's so nice. You're going to see just that shot right there. So he was a threat to pass. He's a threat to shoot. All right, so this clip right here, it actually started with the D, was trying to establish that early position. Lucic is just going to punch that puck past, and now he's in a foot race. All good players want to get inside the dot, so Lucic is going to get inside the dot. So he's a threat to leave it for his trailer. He's a threat to pass it across to his partner right here, or he's a threat to shoot this. He elects to shoot it, ends up being a goal. Fantastic situation for the Flames right there. Okay, Lee J's word last week that I thought was fantastic was underhandling the puck. And I've never used that term. I think it's great. And Lee J, if you don't mind, I'm going to steal it. I always call it not dusting the puck off, but I think that underhandling it is a way better idea. So now we're going to see Arizona right now. Exact same thing. This puck right here is going to be on the player's forehand. So the player's a threat to drop it. The player's a threat to shoot it. There's a lot of Calgary structure right now. So a good player right here, Taylor Hall, is going to work to find some quiet ice. This player obviously has a skill to get it across. And just that idea of not overhandling it, stick handling 4 or 5 times to do it, because that would allow Talbot, who actually got across real well, to get in front of that. And he just had a catch and release and was able to score a really nice goal. So this is a tiny bit different situation. You're going to see Karlsson, William Karlsson's going to be the top of the screen right now. And he's not going to slow this puck down by overhandling it. This puck's going to get to him. His toes are facing towards the net, and his idea is just to put that puck on the net as quick as he can. It ends up being a goal. So we're going to be looking right here at Heinrich, who's going to be the top of your screen. Exact same thing. When this puck gets to him, his toes are to the net. He just puts it onto the net as quick as he can, doesn't overhandle it. It ends up being a goal. So I also thought about the idea of not overhandling it, meaning that you can take a second to set it up. It doesn't mean that you have to just get it off your stick as soon as it gets on. Sometimes if you get a wobbling puck or a puck that you're not really comfortable with, you do need to set it up, but it's as quick as you can set it up that makes this play important. So here you're going to see this is a power play, obviously, and we looked at this clip before, but just this idea right now of Hillary Knight, just a real quick setup and a laser, just because she doesn't overhandle it. Sometimes you do got to stop it, and that's okay too. So you're going to see it right now. This is going to be from Gaudette. He just settles it down, one quick pump on it. His eyes are up, looking to acquire the net. We're going to get a little replay right here. His eyes are up. His head's looking right towards the net. Puts it in a comfortable situation for him to shoot it. Ends up being a really nice goal. So Lee J talked about the body position last week. I thought that was great too. And what we're going to see right now is almost a 1-on-4 situation. So this is going to be Decker is going into forecheck right now. I think there's a line change happening. And she's just going to have a little bit of will over the skill here. So all she's going to do is she wants to change the shape of this Canadian player right here by getting inside her hands. You take away your player's hands. You're making sure that Clark here has nothing she can do with the puck. Decker just gets inside her hands, able to steal that puck. USA is going to end up with some ozone time. Now 1-on-4 becomes basically some ozone time for the US team. Inside body position again. So Eldridge, who's a real physical player, is able to get in here, inside on Keller, changes Keller's shape just by being inside her equipment there, inside her hands. This isn't an illegal play right now. She's just getting body position. Where you get Saulnier is just going to have a great little backhand pass. Johnson with a great shot because she didn't overhandle the puck. Excellent scoring chance for Canada. Okay, and sometimes it's a subtle stick work. Again, borrowing off Lee J's word from last week, which I thought was so important to this presentation, the subtleness sometimes. So you're just going to see a subtle little stick play here by Barbashev. Just that play right there to get underneath the Columbus player's stick. That's going to allow this battle situation to happen. And again, right here, just that little stick lift. It might be subtle, but it's so important. If those two things didn't happen, this next play right here by McEachern would not have happened. So sometimes it's a subtle thing. So those are the habits in the details that will allow your skill to come out. Again, body position, one of the best players that I love to watch, Jonathan Toews right here, understands that when you get inside an opponent, all you're really trying to do is change their shape from being an athletic position into an unathletic position and making them not comfortable. So here you're going to see Toews just with a great little stick reach, and now he's going to work inside Bouwmeester, and now Bouwmeester, his shape is totally changed. Toews has full control of this puck. He's taken Bouwmeester's hands away. His stick can go nowhere because essentially Toews has pinned that against the wall. Toews comes out with his puck, looks for the next play. Excellent goal by Saad. That's one of my favorite clips. Okay, so this play right now, we're going to see this is going to start with a pre-pinch. It's Laquette. In a great pre-pinch, this thing comes down. And now we're going to see Daoud's going to get inside right here on the D's positioning. This is Matheson right there inside. Now she's taken away her hands. There's a 50-50 puck battle that's going to happen right now. Eldridge is going to do the exact same thing. Inside, just taking away her hands. Now there's a full control for the Canadians. Turnbull's in on this puck. Great little cutback, which we're going to talk about in a second. Looking to make the next play. Putting it to the net. The U.S. does a great job fronting that puck. Okay, so now we're going to talk about cutbacks. So in this situation, this is a situation I think there could be a cutback. So a cutback is basically where you're trying to get your opponent to follow you. You're leading your opponent to go to areas on the ice that you want her to go. And you're having awareness of their stick at all times. And when you feel that shape change from your opponent, you want to be able to cut back against the grain, create some separation, and look for that next play. And that next play, that might be bringing it to the net yourself. You might be finding an available partner. Sometimes it might be even just putting the puck back down the wall, but always looking for that next play. So here I just felt right about now there could be a cutback situation because there is some separation right now. We're a left-handed player right now, so we're kind of stuck. We're kind of stuck because we're going to have to make a play on our backhand, and that puck's going to get poked and gone the other way. So this would just be a good example of it. My favorite player to watch outside the Winnipeg Jets is Ryan O'Reilly. And just seeing Ryan O'Reilly right now, he's actually waiting and anticipating Nurse right now to be on him. He's inviting this contact. So alternatively, you're inviting the contact and then looking to create separation. So as soon as he sees and feels that stick come on the outside, O'Reilly's going to turn, he's going to cut back, and now look at all that separation he's created. His head is up. Most good players we've talked about want to get this puck to his forehand. There's not a real good opportunity to do that here. But a great skilled player is able to make that play. None of that offense would have happened if there was not a cutback there for O'Reilly. We're going to see Landeskog, 92 in Colorado, does this. He's one of the best at it, and he's going to be leading his opponent. So as soon as he gets this right now, he has an awareness with that shoulder check of where Eriksson, number 14 on Minnesota, is right now in relation to him and the puck. And there's some good distance. But there's also a little bit of construction area right now of some busy ice. So he's going to work for it. His partner, 96, understands that. It's going to try to buy him some open ice. Eriksson is chasing him. His stick is down. So Landeskog can't really make a play right here. So he's going to bring him where he wants to be. And now he feels that stick has been led to where he wants it, and he's going to cut back. And by that cutback, he's created the separation that allows Landeskog to get this puck to the net as quick as he can for a great scoring opportunity. Okay, so now we're going to talk about cutbacks and controlling your opponent's feet. When you control your opponent's feet, you control their space. And again, looking for that next play. So we're going to see the Anaheim player right now. He's got the Islanders defenseman that's on him. Islander defenseman on him, and as soon as he feels that his feet are vulnerable, he's going to cut back and come the other way. His stick now, this Islander defenseman's stick is not in a strong position. Now it's back towards one, but he already has a step on him. He's controlled his feet. He's controlled his space. It's a low to high. Puck gets past layers. We've already talked about that. Great scoring opportunity here for Anaheim. Some multiple cutbacks. This is a great clip. We're going to watch 18 in St. Louis right here. He's going to, as soon as he feels this stick gets reached around on his hands, he's going to cut back. Now he's created all this separation. His eyes are up. He's looking for that next play. He's not comfortable with it. So he's going to bring Giordano with him, who has a great stick. Another cutback. Now he's lost him again. He's able to find another cutback, look for a seam, Falk right here, hips around the puck, eyes up, looking to get this puck past layers. Great scoring opportunity for St. Louis. Doesn't go in, but it's a great opportunity. Same thing. Multiple cutbacks we're going to see right here. Another one of my favorite players to watch, Bo Horvat. Cutback, trying to make those D reach, trying to make that D slash him, or even can draw a penalty. But as soon as that stick is up, his shape is now changed. He's going to get this up to the D. Gaudette's going to let this puck roll through him. He's going to pick that up off the wall, which is another great skill we can talk about another day. As soon as he feels that stick has been reached by Seabrook, he's going to keep going, cut back the other way, cut back to another cutback, gets there. Horvat's going to look in a little exchange with the D, and Pearson with a great scoring opportunity. All that stuff happened because of those multiple cutbacks. By doing them so many times, you're not only changing the individual shape of the opponents, you're also changing the collective shape of their D zone structure. Okay, here's a couple more. Columbus doing a great job. So Atkinson's going to be behind this net. Doesn't like what he sees. Doesn't feel that he can go inside this pressure from the Detroit D. He's going to cut back, cut back. One more cut back right here. Looking to find that next play. Corner, corner, slot. This ends up in the back of the net. Okay. So this would just be the last clip of what we're going to look at from the forwards here today. And this is putting all the things we've talked about together offensively. So we're going to see right now how many times these good things happen. So right there, that's Lamoureux's in on this puck, inside some hands, create a little bit of a scrum right now. And this is Pankowski. And watch Pankowski just get underneath the stick, inside the opponent's equipment, inside those hands, changing the shape of the Canadian player. Stays on that puck, stays on that puck. We're going to see a little shoulder check. Now a little cutback, fantastic little cutback. Gets his puck low to high. No one's going to dust this puck off. Hips are around this puck, and we understand we want this puck just to get past that layers into a scoring area. Great shot, tip, and a goal. So those would be the habits inside the details that we would want to talk about with your players daily. I think that at the end of the day, these are all important pieces in your player development individually and collectively. It's going to make the confidence of your players better. It's going to make you better as a coach. It's also going to lead to some success. And if you let the players protect what they're good at in practice, but then now you're adding different habits and skills to their skill set as a player, you're going to make your players way better. You're going to make your team way better too, just by building those new habits. And one thing I would always talk about with any player that you're on the ice with is don't let the player you're trying to be frustrate you when you're not that player yet. Your job as the coach is to work on those areas of the game that your players need to work on individually, collectively, and at the end of the day, you want to do it harder and faster at all times. So I think that's the end of that for me. I think, if we have any questions coming through here, Lindsay, if you're still on, if you have any questions you want to moderate.
Yep. Thanks, Todd. That was great. Questions are starting to come in. So just a reminder, if you want us to announce who you are, submit your name when you send in your question. Otherwise, just put it in anonymously and we'll get it going. So the first one is from Mayor McDougall, actually. Is showing clips like you are using in this presentation something you will do prior to emphasizing skill work to players?
Okay, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
So is showing clips like the ones that you just used in this presentation something that you would do prior to emphasizing skill work to your players?
A lot of times it'll be when you're dealing with the best players, let's say we start there, it's reinforcing the things that they're good at. So if you have Patrick Laine, for example, who's a great shooter, we don't need to spend as much time working with Patrick Laine on shooting the puck, but with Patrick, it might be other areas of his game. We talked about getting pucks off the wall or hoisting pucks. So we will want to show that ahead of time. Usually it's the same, it would be in any teaching situation. You want to show some good and then show some areas of improvement. So if we took Patrick, for example, we'd say, these are the best parts of your game. You have these skills down pat better than anybody in the world. And then these are the skills that we need to get better at. And when Patrick, for example, does those things, you want to celebrate it with him. So being able to show, hey, Patrick, look at this. Look at how you got this puck off the wall when there was 13 seconds left in the game. That won us the game. And then maybe you keep 15 or 20 of those, so you can show Patrick or any player the success that they're having as well. So I like to look at stuff ahead of time and say, hey, we can do these things together. Let's work on this. This is an area that we can make better in your game. This is what you're doing great, but now let's work on the areas that we can improve to.
Okay. Lee J's got a question for you. Would love to hear the creator of the second quick explain it to us and talk about how you practice it. P.S. Great hair.
Oh yeah, nice. This is, most people don't know this. This is Pert Plus, so it's shampoo and conditioner at once. So if you have never heard of that, make sure you do a shampoo and conditioner. Thank you, Lee J. So a second quick, I mean, the first time I ever heard that term actually was from Mike Babcock, and Mike Babcock's coaching tree, the people that have come through Mike, that he's influenced, from Todd McClellan and Paul McLean and Todd Richards and, you know, Jeff Blashill, and then all the people that he has had around him that are now have taken his terms and used them themselves. So a second quick really is just where there's an offensive second quick and a defensive second quick. And a second quick is really where you have a support valve. So if you look at that clip that we have with John Klingberg there, where he created a second quick, where he's able to hold that puck and put it into an area where I could be a defenseman, it could be a forward, is there as a support valve. As a support valve where they're there to collect the puck that you were able to get to your partner, your D partner, your forward, who is ever there to help you. So that's the idea of a second quick, is to be able to get that puck from a battle situation or a scrum situation into an open situation. So defensively, so you can get it to an exit. Offensively, so you can get it into an area where you can attack the net. So it's the exact same thing offensively. So a forward might be in creating a scrum puck. A second quick offensively would be your next layer of forward coming in and being able to grab that puck and bring it into a scoring situation.
Okay, next question is from Allison Kumi. When teaching your D of getting shots through the first layers, do you teach your forwards at the same time of getting into areas where they can tip or redirect pucks?
Absolutely, absolutely. The first thing we would talk about with our D is you want your feet moving before you get that puck. So your forwards can also do the same thing. If you look at the players that I think of in my mind, who did that the best, that would be like the Sedin brothers. And the Sedin brothers would work up towards the defenseman, hoping that the defenseman from the other team would follow them. If they didn't follow them, they would have an open area in the middle of the ice, a quiet area, and the D would be looking to hit those sticks. But the D offensively, understanding just to get it past those forwards who are trying to front you, you might not be able to get it directly on net. So that's a skill or a habit or a detail where your forwards can present their sticks off the sides of nets. So if you're not shooting to score, you can be shooting for some structure. So many goals are scored on deflections and redirects and tips, and make sure that's a part of your skill set for your forwards and your D to be shooting for some structure net from.
Okay, next question from Meredith Roth. On the flip side of cutbacks for the defender, do you have any teaching tips as far as feet, stick, body positioning, and awareness to avoid getting drawn into a poor spot defensively?
Well, you've actually just answered the question yourself, that really your stick is an extension of your feet. So you want to make sure that your feet are moving. Anything you can do to keep that puck outside the dots is the best scenario for you. You're trying to buy time for your teammates to help you solve those problems. So your stick is usually the most underutilized tool any player has, a forward or a D. But in that situation versus a cutback, you want to make sure that your stick is really an extension of your feet. So anywhere your feet are going, your stick is going to go as well. Trying to force that player onto their backhand. If you can put her onto her backhand, that's the best case situation. And if you can put that player on their backhand where they're outside the dots, what you're really doing is taking away the highest threats. You're trying to buy an extra second or two so your teammates can help solve those problems, so that the next play available for that cutback forward might not be an open partner for them. So that's what you're trying to do. So I would say exactly the answer was in your question, that you want to use your feet and use your stick as an extension of your feet.
Okay, a lot of questions coming in about drills, and I know this isn't the ideal format to share drills. So maybe you could just touch on an anonymous question, which was, what types of things do you do to help teach off puck movement and support?
So I think there, with anything, it's how you build it. And most people would be surprised, even at the NHL level. And we would start this in development camp where our newest players coming into the Winnipeg organization, from the very beginning, we would break this down to the most rudimentary skills. And these are players that are now NHL stars. Kyle Connor, Jack Roslovic, Tucker Poolman, these people who came in and hadn't really worked on these skills, even inside their college careers or junior careers or major junior careers from before. So understanding that if you look at the breakout situation, really it's just the D starting at the top of a circle to go back and get a puck that's there. Go back and get a puck that is there, that is just sitting there. And then now you can add that D going back, get a puck that might get rimmed in there or chipped into there, or a puck that they have to kill that spin or control a puck area. And now you're adding options for that D. When that D goes back to get that puck, now you can have a coach stand there and just present a stick. And when that D picks up that puck, he has to be able to hit the coach's stick. And then now you're starting to add some pressure. You're starting to add one person as a pressure. You're starting to add one person as a pressure. And then now you can add some support. Now you can add a low center coming through so that D has a choice to make. They can evade that forechecking pressure, or they can hit that support person that's there for you, which is also the same thing as a second quick. And then you look at it from a forward's point of view. Where are you in these breakout situations? Where are you going to take those pucks? If it's a messy, dirty puck that's inside that tier 1 below the goal lines, or how you're going to take those pucks from the goal line to the top of the circles, or top of the circles to the blue line. So really starting with the basics, and then adding layers, adding pressure. And then when you're doing 5-on-5 drills, you can start your 5-on-5 drills with that, where your D has to go back and get a puck against 5 people. One person would be a forecheck, and then now you're trying to break that puck out of the zone. So for me, it's really building on the layers of it, adding pressure, and as many touches as you can get.
Okay, the next few questions focus on your plans for Vermont. Obviously, everyone on the line is a NCAA coach, and so the next few are geared towards the differences between what you plan to do at Vermont versus how it's been in Winnipeg. So the first one is from Bryce Barachevic. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Obviously, you'll have much more practice time at Vermont than in Winnipeg. How do you plan on balancing the working on skills versus implementing systems?
That's a great question. If you look at some of the players that are going to be at UVM, a lot of those guys are actually older than some of the players that we would have had in Winnipeg. So in Winnipeg, we're getting 18 or 19-year-olds. In Vermont, we're getting some players who are 22, 23 years old. But they all need the exact same skill set. In college hockey, you have the luxury and the advantage of practice time. So in the NHL, you might have one practice per game if you're lucky. Because the schedule is so hard, and game day skates don't really count because game day skates are really 12 minutes long. That's actually where a lot of the skill work comes in, before a game day skates or after a game day skate, when players want to work on their individual skills. In college hockey, I'm planning on having one dedicated day where we work on specific skills for forward, specific skills for D, and then finding individual skills for each specific forward and each specific D. So if they have areas of deficiency inside their game, our staff is going to find those, talk about it with the players, which they want to get better at, understanding the skill set we want to have as a team collectively, what we want to get better at, and then one day a week working specifically on skills. And then understanding that before an actual structured practice starts, we're going to have time before and we're going to have time afterwards. So usually that's when you split into forwards and D, but it's going to be a big part of the development of our players. It's giving them the habits in the details to allow our players at UVM to move on past college hockey if they want to be a pro player, but if not, just to be the absolute best pro player they can be inside the college game at UVM.
Okay, it sounds like you've just answered this question, but I'm going to ask it verbatim just so you have a chance to add anything else. It's from Derek Whitmore. So the college schedule is obviously a bit different than the pro schedule. Do you feel that designating a couple days a week for skill development would be more beneficial for college players than having 4 full practice days?
Yep, and I know Derek, and I think that Derek, that's a great question. I think that essentially it is answered. I do like to have one day that we can work on things for players, and that's a lot of those days are conversation days too. So the pace is a little bit different, where I can grab a player and talk to a player at center ice and say, these are the things that you need to be working on in your game. This is maybe why you weren't in the lineup last weekend, is because you couldn't get that puck off the D zone wall. So that's why we're working on this today. A lot of those conversations between coaches and players happen on the ice. I find in those skill days, it's not the same high pace practice that you're going to have in a team. Also, you have a lot more bodies on the ice in college hockey than you would often have in the NHL. So you have to structure the pace and planning of your practice much different when you have 25 players on the ice, whether you have, 18 players on the ice, obviously, plus goalies. So for me, finding that one day that we can do it, keep it fresh. These players at UVM are going to see a lot of the same skills all the time, because in my experience, those are the skills that translate into being the best players. The skills that I'll be working on and our staff will be working on, they're not going to be the fancy skills. It's not the stick handling through 75 different objects on the ice. These are going to be hard area skills that we want our players to do, especially with the type of team we have. And any teams that maybe think they're not going to have a lot of chances, they're going to be the A+ scoring chances. We're going to look to create some B chances, and the skills that are involved in that, and your players getting to hard areas, being able to control pucks in hard situations, creating offense, and even defensively, exact same thing, defense in the hard situations as well.
Okay, a question from Kelly Ryder. What day of the week would you prefer to have your skill day, and why?
I'm going to defer a little bit of that to the staff that we have there at UVM. I know Jeff Hill has done a great job working with some of the skills that we've had. It'll be either a Monday or a Tuesday, beginning of the week. I like to try to build towards the opponent that we're going to play on the weekend. This is assuming a Friday, Saturday game schedule. Sundays are days off. So this, for me, the skill day would be either the Monday or the Tuesday. I haven't really figured that part out yet. I'm coming to this thing a little bit green myself. So, but for sure, it's the beginning of the week. And there's ways of doing things you see with younger players. You can make those practices more fun. But I also believe in making them competitive as well. So we can make those into different teams inside the skill practices, whether that's goals or whether that's things that we expect that to make first passes, whatever it might be, to have a little bit of fun. Because at the end of the day, you want our players to have fun, because we're practicing so much in college hockey. We need to make sure that this is a place you want to go to work every day, that you're having a great time when you're there too.
Okay, you touched on your coaching staff there at UVM, so I'll ask this next question, which is from Chelsea Walklin. What does the process look like when getting together with your staff at the beginning of the year, determining what you want your identity to be and what skills you want to work on?
Well, for me, coming in and not knowing the team very well yet at UVM, the players are going to have an opportunity to introduce themselves to me and the staff on how they see themselves as a player. So I think a lot of that comes from communication with their existing staff member, Jeff Hill, understanding what this team's strengths are. A lot of times you should be looking at building your team around the strengths, identifying your weaknesses, but you can't really have a set style of play if you don't have the horses to be able to do that. So you're not going to be a high puck possession team or an excellent entry team if your team is not built with horses that are like that. You need a bunch of thoroughbreds to play like that, which is a great word I heard at one point. So for me, it'll be about identifying the players that we have, building around those strengths, seeing the deficiencies that we have, and then really it's about listening to the people that have been there before, understanding that the recruiting classes that have come in are really highly competitive character kids. And all we're going to do is kind of shift focus a little bit now and try and change their skill set into being a type of team that we want to be. We still haven't identified what we want to be yet. I have ideas, but until we can actually see this team and see what they're capable of, it might be a 2-3 week process before we identify it as a team.
Okay, Jeff Hill just chimed in to say in the past, Tuesdays were skill day. Monday was a little more battle compete. So there you go.
Okay, so now we're going to do battle compete on Tuesdays, and Monday's going to be skill. How about that, Jeff? Our first fight. We're having our first fight.
Okay, so I just want to do a quick time check because we've hit the top of the hour. There's just a couple more questions if we can keep you a few
No problem.
minutes.
Yep.
Okay. So another question from Derek Whitmore. When teaching skill development, how often do you utilize multiple pucks and blend a couple different skills into one drill?
I've seen a lot of people use multiple pucks. Like if you're talking about one player with two pucks, like I've seen that stuff, and I think there's a high eye-hand coordination aspect to things. I'm not a real fancy skill person. I believe in the skills that translate to the games. I do understand that there is a value to increasing your coordination between your eyes and your hands. I get that. But if you're talking specifically about just adding a second puck inside a drill, that's going to happen all the time. So for me, that would be a reactionary puck. So if it's a 5-on-5 drill, adding a second puck for a counter to come back in, or if it's a battle situation down low and that puck all of a sudden gets squirted out of the D zone, throwing another puck inside there. So I'm not sure if that's what Derek was looking at, but if it's adding a second puck in a drill to keep the drill going, I'm all for it. The individual puck skills doing, 2 pucks at once, I know there's people who do that, and I think that's great. That's just not something I personally do very often.
Okay, next one is from Justin Simpson. Todd, congrats on the new gig. Unrelated to your presentation today, but when taking over a college program, what are your initial priorities in establishing relationships with your players, especially when they aren't on campus right now and they usually would be at this time of year?
I think anybody coming into a new situation has to listen more than anything. Like you have to listen to the people that have been there before, hear what the opinions are of people who are leaving the program. So I've connected with the seniors who are graduated this year, and then listening to the players. So when a new coach comes into a situation, there's going to be a lot of anxieties. There's anxieties from the seniors. Oh my gosh, we got this new coach in. This coach didn't recruit me. This is going to be a washout year for me. And then just really assuaging those, where you say to those players, hey, I'm not quitting on you as a player because you're a senior. We're turning this thing into the program it deserves to be right off the bat right now. This is what we want to do. And every single person on this team, you do have an opportunity to introduce yourself to the coach, me, and the new coach who's going to be coming in, and Jeff Hill, what type of player you want to be. And I've said it before, but sometimes players have to go through the car wash. The player they think they are might not be the player that I think that the player is going to be. And then all the players understanding when you come in and there's a new coach, it really doesn't matter what you did last year. I don't care. I don't care if you were a senior last year. I don't care if you're a Hobie Baker nominee last year. I don't care if you're a freshman coming in. Everybody's going to come in with the exact same opportunity. How are you going to make this program as competitive as possible, as quickly as possible? And how are you going to help this team win on game number 1 or game number 34? That's what's going to drive this team. That's the message that you have coming in. Different daily messages are going to evolve over time as we get to know these players. But for me, telling each one of these people on an individual conversation right off the bat, the first calls I made were to the players, introducing myself, getting to know them as people, learning a little bit about their families, that they're okay during all this stuff that's going on right now, that they're washing their hands, all the good things that we would want to know as coaches. And then me telling them what our vision is going to be as a team here, that we want to be as competitive as we can. We want to be in a winning environment, and that really winning actually is a skill. And it's something we're going to be working towards from day number 1 all the way to the last day.
Okay. Anything you want to leave everybody with here before we sign off?
I don't think so. I just think that I really appreciate the opportunity to be speaking in front of everybody. I know it's some weird times out there, and you're doing something great by just being here and getting better every single day. It's the same thing you're asking of your players you're doing right now. I hope that I had a little bit of influence on some forward and D skills and habits and details for you. Any question, I'm an easy person to find, and I look forward to watching a lot of college hockey next year. Women's hockey is a big part of my heart, and I'm going to be watching as much as I can too. So good luck to everybody that's out there, and I hope everybody and their families stay healthy, stay safe, and have a great rest of the spring and summer.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd. And thank you for all of your support. I think this is the 4th or 5th of these webinars that you've done for the NHLCA, and we're all very grateful for your time and all the hard work that you've put into this. Thanks everyone for listening today. Week 1 of the program done. Next week, we have Elizabeth Keating Norton from BU presenting on Monday, with Glenn Gulletson from the Edmonton Oilers on Friday. The theme of next week will be power play. So looking forward to seeing everybody then. Have a great weekend. Stay healthy and safe. Bye.